chat. Yes, I'm late. I know. I lost internet at home. Then electricity went away. It was a bit chaotic. You know how it is. Hello, welcome. Huh? Boycott Raghav is going on in the chat. Why are people going after? It's not Raghav's fault, guys. What electricity do we have? No, it's Reliance, so we're not going to say anything about Reliance. Anyway, welcome chat. Welcome to the stream. We are live once again with the stars of CHINTU Ka birthday. Say hello to Darren and Louis. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the stream. What the hell is going on? Reggie, what is going on?
I wanted to make sure that I was protected from COVID during my stream.
It doesn't transmit via internet. It's not that kind of virus.
It's okay. You never know. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Reg. What's happening? Deva, Saty, welcome to the stream once again. Before we started the stream, we were calling Reggie a boomer. Reggie didn't know what a boomer was, so Reggie began the stream by doing the most boomer thing possible.
That's a boomer thing?
No, here's how the conversation went. I said Reggie boomer, and Reggie was like, I don't know what that is. Does it make money? And I was like, oh, that's also boomer. I like it. I think boomer is basically what millennials call people who are older than them. That's it.
Oh, like a baby boomer.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I'm not, so let me just jump in here. Here we have boomers here too, but they're a little older than me.
Oh, got it. My bad.
Yes.
How's it going,
it's okay.
gentlemen? How's it going? You guys feeling good?
It's good.
Feeling great.
Yeah.
Have you guys been getting messages from Indian fans?
We have, yeah.
Have you guys been understanding any of them?
Yeah,
no, actually,
yeah.
They
I want to say just a thank you to all of them, because everybody's been amazing and they've all been saying wonderful, wonderful things to us. And it's almost been overwhelming. It's been great.
Yeah, truly. Shout out to everybody who has taken the time to write Reggie and I, whether it was in DMs or comments. The support has been absolutely incredible, unprecedented. Weren't really prepared for it, but incredibly grateful to you all. And I know Reggie and I have done our best to respond to everybody if possible, because you took the time to write us, and so we really wanted to return that courtesy and kindness by at least getting back to you. So truly,
I'm gonna make things worse. At the end of the stream, we're gonna raid your Instagrams at the end of this. So in case you had a schedule for the coming week, well, you gotta block it out, because now you gotta respond to every single. People are like, F for Hindi speakers. Guys, we will do Hindi also.
Perfect. I got Google Translate. It'll just take a little while.
Which brings me to my first question. When you guys spend that time in India, how much Hindi did you guys pick up on?
How much Hindi?
Go for it. Go for it.
A decent amount, but as Saty and Deva know, I won't be able to repeat most of the things that I've taught.
Nid, why don't you do that thing, the thing that I taught you?
He's not going to remember.
Oh. Kaji, kaise ho?
Okay. I don't know that. And I remembered hello, but I don't remember anything now. But I do remember that. So I do know when I do this. Yes.
Reggie, I taught you a song. Don't lie. I taught you a full song.
No, you didn't. You played the song for me. It was very nice, but I don't know the lyrics. It was a beautiful song. What was the name of the song, Deva?
Lollipop Lagelu.
You see?
You taught him Lollipop Lagelu, Deva.
He was getting into makeup, didn't he? He was getting into makeup, or he was extremely, he was in his character. Very conscious about his makeup, and I played Lollipop Lagelu.
Nice. And
all of us in the room, we pretended that it's the best song from Bollywood, and he must learn it.
Please tell me this is in the making of the film. It is. Yes! We will release that footage very soon. If you think the messages you're getting now are confusing, Reggie, after this video comes out, it's going to be even more fucking confusing.
But it's okay. There's everybody. They're sending me messages in English. There's a little bit of Hindi in there, but everybody's been positive, except for the people that say that they like Darren's character more. I had one of my fans now because he hits me up all the time. He was joking and he says, I loved your character, but I just want to be honest that he liked Darren better. That was only one person. Everybody else liked me.
Why
But
did he say why?
He didn't. You know what? I interestingly had a conversation with someone who thought that I was too nice, and they liked.
Oh, you were too nice.
I was too nice.
Can I
go for it, Dave?
What?
Go for it.
No, I was just saying, I feel like that's just a great lesson for life when in relationships, that the second you like somebody, they don't like you. So if you treat them bad, and they seem to want to stick around, and maybe that was Darren's advantage, is I didn't give a F. I was just like, man, all of you and your birthday, I'm coming here to lay it down. There's a moral in the story, Reggie. There's a moral.
Well, there's a moral, but I will say that there were a lot of people that also didn't like you, so that was great.
That's true. I got a lot of that as well, actually. Guys, I want you to know that, like, I hate you, but great job. And I was like, high praise. It's like, that's the highest praise you can get, really. I mean, I'm like, well, my job here is done. People thought I should have got cake at the end. I want to say that. There's a lot of people that were actually disappointed that I did not receive any cake. They felt that, despite my tearing that house to pieces, I deserve a little bit of cake.
Was Darren designed to be disliked by the audience? What were you thinking when you wrote Darren and Louis, 13 years ago when you started writing it?
So actually, Darren in the script is worse. When you read the script, you hate him more. And blame it on our writing, or I don't know, but Darren did not come across as a well-rounded human being in the script, but it was the performance by Nate which brought about the human of Darren in many ways. And similarly, Louis in the script came across as too casual. He didn't come across as a soldier at all in the script. But Reggie, he showed us the soldier inside Louis. So these two shortcomings which the writing had, these two actors really helped us take care of that. So
yeah, I agree. It was a garbage script that the actors really saved. That I agree with that.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. The script was trash. I mean, really.
This is the best garbage script I've ever seen.
It was the longest made garbage script ever. I mean, a lot of people take like a couple months to write trash. They took like 15 years.
Amazing. And so if it took that much time to write trash, amazing. See how long it took to shoot the trash.
Hey, listen, they're perfectionists, all right. When it comes to trash, they know what they're doing. All right.
That's true.
Yes. I like to recycle my garbage.
Sat, you once told me a story about how, this thing that you just said, that Nate made it human, and you narrated a story on the last stream, some of you might have missed it, about your conversations with the actors and specific things that they decided to make up about their character to make them human. If you can tell me a bit about it, and gentlemen, if you can pitch in as well, that'd be nice.
Yeah, so it was mostly their work. Our job was to just let them know that they are the heroes of the film as well. So I remember very clearly that I told Nate that this is your coming of age film. Your character comes of age in this film. So if you are the protagonist of the film, your character comes of age in this story. And that's it. After that, I left it on Nate and Reggie to create their own characters. So I'm sure they have a lot of stories to tell. They did a lot of homework for this. They really prepared it really well.
Really? Gentlemen? Homework?
We had a lot of time. we had a lot of time.
Reg, if you can tell us, what did you think of Louis when you saw the script? What did you add to it? And how did things change on set?
So first off, in reading Lewis Jackson, I liked Lewis Jackson. To me, was humanity from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like the character himself. There was a shift. I didn't want him to be an asshole. Can I say asshole on this live? It's too late. Sorry. I didn't want him to be that. I kind of wanted him to be the humane character. I also wanted to be a little evil as well. I think he was able to show all of that. But there's a very interesting piece. There's a scene in the film where Wahid's character comes up to me and says, "Hey, Lewis, what's up, my?" And he uses the N-word. And I had a dialogue with both Saty and Deva about how we can treat, you know, that word. I wanted to know where that came from in the writing. Why did he choose to say that? And then with that, I wanted to let them know that my character would have been affected by that, or at least should give a reply to that. But anyway, I say all that to say they were able to they allowed us to collaborate, which was amazing. They allowed us to the reply that I have in the movie is something that I suggested to both of them. And it was very, very important to me for them to leave that in the film. And I was very glad that they did. And it all made sense. And I gave Wahid an option to call me something else, like something we can do later. I say that to say this. One of the fans, actually two people have written me already. I had a young guy from what city in India? I don't remember the city. But I knew he was from India. But he said to me that his favorite part of the film was the fact that I did not get mad at Wahid for calling me the N-word. And that he said that when we were younger, we learn things from our parents. And the fact that this boy in India was able to relate to a change that I made in the dialogue, he totally understood what I was saying. And he was happy about it. If that's your favorite part of the movie, it just made my heart feel well. It just made me feel so good that he understood exactly what I was trying to portray. And he understood exactly that what Wahid was saying. He knew that Wahid wasn't doing that to be rude. That's just all he knew. And it was just amazing that our script and our writers allow sort of the leeway for us to be able to they let us present our best self. So I thank you guys for that. But that's a big deal. It was just a big deal for us to be able to collaborate.
Hang on, I'm just changing the dialogue writing credit in the film. Naveed, if you can make the change, that would be very nice. Thank you. Additional dialogue for Reggie, please.
Additional dialogue. Oh, you want more dialogue?
Nate, I come to you, man. Tell me about, like Saty said, you made Darren human. What did you do with Darren? What did you add to Darren? What was your thought process like?
Well, I gotta start by obviously, even though all this is just talking shit, we really should talk about what I can and can't say on here beforehand. Sorry.
No, just you can say whatever the fuck you want to. Go for it.
All right, there we go.
Whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't honestly praise Saty and Deva enough for this script. And we're talking shit, but like the dialogue, the characters, everything in this was absolutely phenomenal. And this was a script that I know Reggie and I believed in from the very, very start. And not just the script, but them as creatives and what they sacrifice. As I'm sure all of your viewers have heard from the story of this movie and them and what they gave up to do this and how far it's come. But the one of the most impressive things I would say from a creative standpoint with making this movie is that there was no ego involved with Satyanchu Devanshu when it came to this script. I had some particular things from the beginning that I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to know that we are going to be as accurate as possible with the American military. Because the plan all along was for this movie to be international. It was never just to be like just in India. We wanted to go to the world. And I knew that if in America, soldiers will rip it apart if it is, not respectful or not accurate to tactics, the protocol. Like it would just get ripped apart on blogs and like would,
even if it is inside a house, even if it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We spent so much time with that and they were so open, even brought in, they're willing to bring in a friend of mine who was a first recon Marine and did a number of tours as a consultant for the project to just make sure that like everything was as accurate as we could be within the story construct. Obviously, it's a movie, so there's, some suspension of disbelief with certain things, but to make that accurate and allow us to really take on these characters. And they just wanted to make the best possible script. And a lot of the times with movies and writers, like it's their work and they don't want it touched. And that was never the case. The goal.
Yeah, because we all knew it was trash from the beginning, right? So
exactly. Most people won't admit they're trash.
I was not trash. I was recyclable.
It was reused trash. It's true. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out first and foremost. Just that it was because of them and their ability to let Reggie and I play with these characters, but also to make it as authentic and grounded as possible, which I truly believe showed up on film. And it really had a grounded element to it.
Nate, what was the backstory you made up for Darren? Saty told me that Nate, the reason why, like for example, one of the reasons why, I mean, I know we're talking a few years ago, you thought about this character. One of the reasons why Darren was so strict and extremely protocol driven and harsh was because he lost a family member in Iraq. Like you created some stuff for Darren.
Yeah, no, Darren's backstory, the gist of it, which makes sense, I guess, now for everyone who's watched it. He lost a family member in 9/11, and that attack, and so both Reggie and him are Army Rangers, and that was the most realistic background we could give to why only 2 soldiers would be doing welfare checks when normally it'd be a bigger group. And Army Rangers they'll possibly be broken up into smaller units and basically going and doing things within the community in foreign countries. But Darren was special operations in South America. So he was cartel. He was never Middle East. He was never any of this. And he was training troops in Georgia, which Reggie's character throws out in the script when 9/11 happened. And that was essentially his fuel of immediately getting redeployed, like no longer doing the training and getting back out there and avenging his family and his brothers. And I mean, the character was written, as the bad guy, but my main objective with Darren was to kind of make sure that everybody knows, like, you never play a villain. Like good villains, you're never playing bad, because nobody does anything ever being like, I'm bad and that's why I'm doing this. I'm a real piece of shit, so I'm gonna go. They do.
Are you sure you're just not an asshole? You're just an
asshole. I have. Weirdly enough, I've played a lot of villains in the past few years, and I don't know if that's the universe telling me that I am in fact an asshole. It could be. It could be. The jury's out. But nobody does anything because they're bad. They're completely justified in what they do. And this, I think, echoes right now a lot of issues that we have in the world, is that there is this lack of empathy and understanding for our fellow man, and the different man or woman, the differences that we have. It's hard to take yourself out and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And I wanted to make sure that, like, Darren, while he is, the antagonist of the story, and what he is doing is terrible, and he's being an asshole, and he's, you don't like him, but I wanted to make sure that there was at least a glimmer of humanity to him, and the audience could possibly see why, could see why he's doing what he's doing. Because in his eyes, he's defending his brothers. His family was killed, and he's bought into a lot of the rhetoric. He's bought into a lot of the narrative that was said by the U.S. government and our reasons for going there, where Reggie had already been there. He'd been there for a while. He was, more compassionate. He saw what happened with war and like what it was doing to people, and that, WMDs, where? And it was that contrast of those two things. But Darren, I just want to make sure that Darren was never just a bad guy. He was a guy doing his job, and he was a guy doing what he thought was right. And that was what I hope.
Can I piggyback on that? Can I jump in on that?
Yeah, of course.
So interesting. He mentioned that. So Lewis's backstory had to do. So my character was married with 2 kids, and one of the boys he had a young 6-year-old boy, which is why I might have talked to Deva about this once, but about having that he's going to be from my hometown, which is Omaha, where I am right now. And my character had 2 kids, and one of which was a 6-year-old young male. So, with that being said, that played into the empathy that he had for Chintu specifically. Even when he walked into the door, because I don't think Lewis really cares about the situation until he realizes that it's his birthday. You know, that moment when he's talking to Madan and he tells Chintu, you know, make it a good one and all of that stuff. You know, wait, something Wayente. How do I say that? I forgot what I said. Either way, there's a resonance there. There was a connection between him and the young boy. He looks into the boy's eyes. At least that was my backstory of looking in his eyes and thinking of his own son. And thinking of how
Lewis is good with kids.
And the entire goal for Lewis eventually in that war was to get back home to his kids. Was to get back home to his kids, get back to his wife. So that's sort of so that was sort of his emphasis. Keep
Nate,
going.
there's a question here that someone's thrown up. Darren's moment when he's silently processing the celebration of Chintu's birthday from a dark corner and his face lights up briefly because of the cigarette drag. Was Nate inspired by the Vietnam War movies and material from the late 70s and 80s?
Well, I think that is more a result of the fantastic director of photography that we had. That was that lighting and all that was more direction of
Divan,
I can't take credit for that. I mean, I can tell you what I was thinking. I mean, in that moment was the transition of, you know, the reality that I'm an asshole and I lost all humanity before that, and was suddenly.
And I remember when we shot it, I was on set the day we shot it, Saty, because the movie was shot linearly. This was at the end of it. Like, this was it the last day or it was the
second last?
It was the second last day. Like, you're at the end of it. It's it is one of the most pivotal moments, you know, and there's like a happy vibe on the set that we're going to finish this project. What was going on in your head when you were doing that moment?
I mean, if you remember, for those of you, I guess, who watched it recently, one of the first things I do is I light the cigarette, and then I look at the cigarettes and I realize where I got them. And it was from literally kicking the shit out of Hassan Madi and then stealing his cigarettes. And it was that, and I look over, like, you know, smoke, and I you know, look over to where I was beating him on the ground. And then that kind of starts that in contrast to the celebration over there, the pure love of Madan Tiwari and his family, and doing anything he can just to give his kid a good birthday. And in contrast to like the evil that I was exacting on those people, without full, you know, it's not that the cause wasn't just, because they were hiding somebody. So, you know, my character was justified in that initially, overzealous maybe, but it was that first moment, like, you know, whenever in real life you suddenly realize you did something wrong, or you suddenly feel remorse for something you said or regret. It was that first, and it doesn't come because you're thinking of it. It came from literally smoking that cigarette and then looking at the box, and that started Darren's thought process of reflection of everything that he did. And, you know, once again, it was looking at the sign, you know, the Chintu birthday sign that he tore up, the broken pieces of oud around him, and then thinking back to his family in that moment and realizing, like, what are you doing? Like, these people, they're not your enemy. They are your family in a different color, in a different location. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what have you become? Like, you know, you become a monster that you have claimed that you're going to fight, that you're trying to make free from the world. And it was that kind of moment of clarity about who these people were and what Darren had become in such a short period of time. And that was what inevitably led to the change of heart, was essentially seeing his family in the Tiwaris. And
Prathamesh has, thanks Nate for that. Prathamesh has thrown in a question which I was going to pose to Deva. I believe between Saty or Deva, Deva was the one focused on casting heavily, right? Deva, tell me, so the casting story of Nate and Reggie is an interesting one, right? Because the film was written when, and you had cast after that, and the film wasn't getting made, but you wanted to retain the soldiers. Can you tell me the story about that?
Actually, when it comes to casting the soldiers in the film, it was Saty sir and me who went through practically 1,600 profiles, maybe more.
Yeah, 1,500.
1,500 profiles to get these two gentlemen.
It just arithmetically, it is, you start with 1,500 profiles and you end with Reggie and Nate. Just probability wise, it is just such a big thing, right? I mean, one slip here and there, and we could be sitting with some other guys. So
100%.
Glad you didn't, guys.
It's very the word interesting that Tanmay used. You said it was an interesting way that they did this. That's a light word for it. It was to me it was long and an arduous process, but it was worth it. I remember specifically them telling me that we've narrowed it down now to 33 people, and now we've narrowed it down to 12, and now we've narrowed it down to 3.
Yeah.
So then when we got down to 3, I then sent them now all our conversation was via email. They had never been to the States. They had never talked to, I suggested to Saty and Deva, I said, can we Skype? I said, can we just Skype? Because I knew that if they got my personality, maybe I could get this role. So I suggested that they Skype. We Skyped for 2 hours, and I got an email probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. So I just, it was a testament. I'm glad that you guys really took your time.
What was the scene that you had to perform for the audition, Deva? Which scene was it? I remember seeing Nate's audition. Like Nate was all like you did the thing, Nate.
I did a movie, bro.
Yeah,
I
did a proper movie.
As a freaking movie.
It's gonna be in the making, all right, Deva. I want that audition tape to be in the making.
Oh, he had all the bells and whistles. It was nice.
Deva,
So
what was the scene?
Were you asking me what was my audition?
Sorry?
Huh?
No, I said, were you asking me what was my scene that I auditioned with?
I'm asking Deva to tell us what were the 2 scenes that both of you had to audition. What scenes did you guys have to perform?
I would like to start saying this, that unlike in India, when you cast outside India and you come across actors who are actors, they are actors. They learn the craft. Someone's nephew, nieces who come recommended, They actors, they know 5, 6. So every time we would go through their profiles, we would be like, this guy knows horse riding, this guy knows 10, 15 different things. I mean, how much effort do they put in? And the reason why, Reggie, it took us forever to respond to you with a final nod was because we went through profiles and all of them were such amazing actors. Such brilliant actors to begin with.
Hold on. Can you repeat that? Oh, man. No, my volume. No, somebody tried to call me and my volume went out. You said the reason that
he was being serious. I thought he was like, you say that one more time.
No, really. I literally was hanging on the chair.
Oh, got it.
And it said, the reason that we took a long time
is the town that you're in, is that a fishing town?
Do you hear? No, it's not a
Never
fishing.
mind. Never mind. Nothing. Go for it. Deva, go for it. Nobody got that joke. My bad.
The final nod took forever because we had a final list of 3 Nates, 3 Darrens and 3 Louis. We had an amazing time. We knew that we could simply shut our eyes and put our hands do eeny, meeny, miny, mo on any of them, and we would still have great actors on board. But then finally, when it comes to the character Darren, when it comes to the character Louis, we finally thought that let us marry these characters to these 2 wonderful actors. Because in more ways than one, their personality, their look, everything else went really well for the film. And
what was the scene, Deva, that you guys had asked them to audition?
There's 3 of them.
Nate's scene, yeah. So we always like to over audition, if I say so. So, and we had all the time in the world. But having said that, the film was supposed to take at that time. We were in a rush in 2012 when we reached out to you. So coming to the scene, Nate was given 3 scenes. The first scene was him storming into the house. Storms into the house and he takes a round and then he goes and checks for the IDs. And Reggie says not needed. So that was the first scene. The second scene for Nate was when he is shot, when he gets shot in his neck. And it was a scene which where he had to simply look into the mirror and react that what the hell is happening, something of that effect. It was a silent scene, I guess.
There's a couple words in there that we scrubbed from the script, but yeah, it was mostly silent.
Which was the third scene, Saty sir?
The third scene was it's supposed to be me and Reggie.
The DVD scene.
It's after finding the home video collection.
Yeah. Once you find the DVDs, the banter between the two of you.
Yeah.
It was very different,
so different.
In the audition round.
It's so funny as I went back and watched it, like, I don't know, a month or so ago after this released. And I was like, none of this the script changed so much. That was like 8-9 years ago, however long ago that was. The script was nothing even remotely close to it. And a lot of the dialogue I said ended up being Lewis's dialogue and a lot of that stuff. Like,
yeah, sure, Nate, sure, but like the essence of trash didn't go away. Let's not forget.
No. Yeah. Trash was through and through. I mean, like, they're nothing not consistent.
I think I only had one audition scene. I don't remember at this time. I think it was one scene that they had me do over and over again.
Reggie, are you complaining about auditioning less?
Oh no! I think that well, no, I'm not. But I think it was our scene was just entering. My scene was just basically entering the house and going back and forth with Nate. And it was interesting because I remember my initial audition. I didn't have any gear. I had a 2x4 that I used as my gun. Can somebody tell my aunt to stop calling me? Okay. But I used anything that I could to make that scene happen. So, and then I had fatigues the second time around when the third time when they hit me in 2016 and thought that I was too old to do the role.
How dare they? How dare they?
How dare they?
In fact, Nate and Reggie, I'd like to remind you that the first time we wanted you to audition, it was without any direction coming from us.
Yeah.
We did see how you guys react to the scenes your own way.
Yep.
There was a lot to learn from how you were approaching the scene, and then we started thinking how to orchestrate what you are doing, where we want you to take you in the scene, and then we eventually started making conversations. And we did those 2-3 rounds of auditions.
Yeah. It's all Skype redirects and then refilming self-tapes and sending them in. And then I think the third time we just did it via Skype. Like there's 2 self-tapes that we did, the original, then the callback, which was the redirects in an email I think that you guys gave, like a detailed email with the redirects. And then I think the third time we just did it live, right? I remember.
I don't remember.
This is how I think we should go about auditioning. The first job that I ever had was that of a casting director. And I've always felt that you don't direct the actors first. First, you want to see how they are approaching the scene. It would be something magical out there. And then eventually you talk to them. You try to meet midway, if at all required. At times, the actors could surprise you so much that you wouldn't want to,
Deva, I have a question. Had you guys Skyped with any actors before us? Because I feel like when I asked you about that to Skype, you guys hadn't done that. It was because everybody was there in India. We were the only ones that were far away, and I don't think you guys had Skyped with anybody yet. I think am I correct?
We did Skype with the top 3. Maybe Reggie, you were the first person we Skyped with, but eventually we ended up chatting with 6 actors, 3 for both.
Reggie, you guys got it. You shot the movie. The movie's out. People loved it.
It's
done.
Still insecure about competition.
Reggie, you got the film. You shot it. It got edited. It got released. People loved it. It came out. Your performance was great.
Everybody accepted it.
We are screening it in the audition process.
Yes, you are screening the film in Ohio next week.
Reggie's next question. So, are you telling me I got the part? Do you think I got the part?
Do I have the part?
You guys liked what I did, right? You liked what I did?
I'm not worried about it. I know I bodied it, but anyway. But
let me tell you, Reggie was so confident that he's going to get it. It's not funny. He was so confident. Every time he would chat with us on Skype, he would tell us, "I'm coming to India." Yeah, before we told him that we've selected him, he told us, "You know what? I bought this book. I've done this. Yeah, I'm too sure that He had planned it.
I did my research, but there was a moment. My thing is this: if you started at 500 or 700 people and you've narrowed it down to 30, and then you've narrowed it down to 12, when you got to 3, part of me knew that this had to be destiny. I remember telling Nate a long time ago, wait, no, it had to be after we actually got the part. But I just remember him telling him that I think that this was always going to be a big part of our future. A big part of our future, a big part of our careers, a big part of, I do have a little confidence. I think Nate has a little confidence too. That's why he sent in that initial audition directed by Martin Scorsese.
Sat, what were your concerns shooting with these two guys? In India, it's an alien environment for them.
Yeah.
You're in one house. There's a lot of actors. There is a time constraint. You have to do it within a budget. Plus, they never met the actors, right? Because you wanted the actors to respond to the American soldiers. So, what were your concerns, and how did you tackle those?
And our obvious character flaws as humans. Like all that.
Trashy script.
The biggest concern obviously was the culture gap, because even if we were in the most professional set in Mumbai, with a very good budget, and with even if we were really the best of Indian cinema.
What do you mean, even if you had everything you wanted? Okay, enough. The directors are getting rogered from every end today. I love it. Go on.
Even
if despite that, there is a culture gap, which is just the fact that we are Indians and we approach things in different ways, and as far as we know, as far as the movie industry is concerned, America has a certain way of doing things which the world has been following.
I'm going to get to that in a bit. Nate and Reggie, differences between shooting there and shooting here. I'm going to get to that after this. Go on, Sam.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. We knew that both of these gentlemen, they really love their characters. They love the script. They want to do this film. So we were obvious of the hunger. We were obvious of their passion. But one day before the shoot, you don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to. Suddenly if they realize that, oh my God, this is just not up to the mark. So I'm glad that I remember both of them when they entered the set, their eyes lit. They were like, oh, this is, because the set was so well done that I remember their faces. Both of them were really happy looking at the set. And then unfortunately, when you're shooting the film, you as a director, you do not get to spend time with the actors. Apart from the time when the camera is rolling, you are not really with the actors. So you don't know whether they had their breakfast or not. You don't know how they are feeling, and you are depending on others to take care of them. And you can't even be apologetic about it, because it's not your job to do that on the day of the shoot. There are other things to take care of. So that was my biggest concern. Are they comfortable? Are they fine? Are they mentally tuned to this? Are we disappointing them? These things. But because apart from that, I knew that these people are wonderful craftsmen, and we had already worked on the characters.
So there's a double pressure, right? Outside of the fact that they're actors, plus they're not. They're not desi actors. So there's a slight pressure in playing the hospitality and etc.
Yeah.
As playing hosts.
First day,
foreigners.
the first day, Nate and Reggie, both of them, they knew all their lines, they knew all their motivations. So we never had to discuss anything on set.
Yeah.
Ad-lib or improvise or do anything like that. So the first 2 days, I was struggling with them because they would ask me the same question again and again. Is it a good take? And I would say, yeah. They would say, no, but are you sure? I would say, yeah. Is it a good take? are you satisfied? And I would nod my head. Nate had to shrug me and he said, boss, this means no. Means yes. So you bloody tell me whether you like it or you don't like it. Do you like it? You know? Are you okay? Or a retake?
Hilarious.
I was like, oh, I need to go back to school.
You know, just before coming, Nate and Reggie are like, oh man, we gotta not say anything stereotypical for India. Cut to Deva saying, oh, this I like the take. And they're like, God damn it, the fucking stereotype is true.
When I first got to the airport, when I first got to the Mumbai airport, my phone was down and Saty was waiting on me. They were waiting on me to pick me up. And I went to the information desk and I asked the young lady, I said, hey, I said, do you know English? And she starts going like this. I'm thinking that she's telling me no, and I'm getting upset with her the entire time. All I want to know is, is there a Wi-Fi? We had a long discussion and she kept going like this and kept going like this. And I thought she was mad at me the entire time. And she had to explain. They explained later to me that means yes, or that means we agree.
Yes.
No joke. The same thing. I think Reggie and I talked about this after getting there because we had lunch like the very first day we were there. When I got to the airport and I was trying to get my check bag, I walked up to a lady at the help desk, probably the same lady, and I was like baggage claim that way, and she goes, and like emotionless, like with like a blank face,
exactly,
and like almost like she was mad at me. She's like,
right,
and I was like, oh, sorry. And I'm like,
It's not everyone. Hang on.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was like,
step
I didn't
in here,
mean to,
right?
like, what was I rude? And I went and got in the car and I told Naveed, I was like, dang, bro, like the first person I met in your country is giving me attitude. He's like, what did she do? What did she do?
No,
And
but
I
I feel the other way about America. Like first time I went to America, I'm just walking down the street and someone's like, good day, sir. I'm like, mind your own fucking business. Why are you being so nice to me? Can you please not talk to me? Excuse me. It's not a good day. I've had a terrible day. Can you not smile? So it's not us. It's the rest of the world is the problem. All right.
It's always the rest of the world. It's always the rest of the world.
Says the man who's famous all over. Did we talk about how Tanmay and I were having dinner in New York City? And then all of a sudden we go out. Tanmay wants to have a smoke. So we decide to go outside and he decides to smoke. We go to we're walking. The next restaurant, there are 4 women sitting outside and they're like, Tanmay. And I'm thinking to myself, you're in my country and you're being recognized.
Indians are everywhere, buddy. By the way, don't forget to tell them how fucking shocked you were. Reg, you're like, oh my god, so you weren't kidding about being famous, were you?
I was, no, what the fucked up thing about it was he was trying to figure out, Tanmay was trying to figure out who I was. He's like, well, who are you? You know, like, he's trying to figure out if I'm worthy. And I'm like, well, in the United States, they know me, motherfucker. But as soon as we walked outside, the girls were like, oh my God, it's Tanmay. And I was like, they know you? This makes no sense. It was the craziest thing. Oh, but can I just say one shout out to Kriti. I want to thank Kriti so much. You guys were talking about how, you know, our cultural differences and how Saty and Deva wanted to make sure everything was perfect. And Kriti was probably the best sort of, I don't know if her title was hospitality, production assistant, whatever it was. From day one, though, she helped sort of ease our woes. I will say
awesome. Kriti OP in chat, please. Kriti OP in chat.
Kriti, she was amazing. Big shout out to Kriti, who just had her birthday, I think, too. Yeah. Double shout out.
Reggie, well done on letting the world know that I smoke, by the way. Well done on that one.
They didn't know that already? I'm sorry. Hey,
no. In India, you're never really an adult with your own choices. Right? You have to conform by what everybody else wants you to do.
Of course. And that was like, what? That was 3.5 years ago. So you're totally fine.
Yeah, he doesn't smoke anymore. Of course not. Of course not. He would never light a fire, you guys. He would never.
All right. There's a question here from Udit. How did the idea of the movie Chintu come about? How did they feel after the movie and working with the cast? Udit, I think, I mean, we've covered this. How did the idea come about, Saty? I think we've covered this. I'm going to do another question. Hang on. I'm so sorry. I'm going to do another question. We'll answer this at the end. Question for Nate and Reggie. At what point during the shoot did you connect with the character, as the shooting span was so short? did you prep a lot before the shooting even began? It's an interesting question, Tanmay. I mean, the person who asked is also Tanmay. I'm not complimenting myself for reading the question out.
I really think
Great question, Tanmay. Thanks for asking, Tanmay.
No, Tanmay Vasalwar, he said, because he's right. You didn't have a long time on set. It was a quick in and out, right? I mean, you had to come to the country, get acclimatized, shoot, and then bounce. So you didn't really have time.
We were there for, we were on set for 2 weeks at least. I mean, we were there a week before. I mean, it's a total of like 3 to 4 weeks we were in Mumbai.
We were there for 30 days. And I know personally, I only had to shoot for 9. So it was, there's a lot of time where we had one rehearsal day, at least I did. And I think Nate as well. I think Nate shot maybe 10 days. I think he had an extra day. But I think, just not to speak for Nate, but I feel like we already have these characters in our bodies. I love the idea of not meeting the family until we got to set, until we were ready to shoot, because that look of shock and awe that CHINTU had was amazing. And I think there's a moment right there where we're going in the right lane. And this is, it was for me at least, when I first saw CHINTU and first got to meet him, I knew, okay, you know what, this is how we're going to have to play this. And you kind of lock and load at that point. And that was sort of the point when I knew, all right, this is going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I'm always getting the years mixed up. I mean, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. I don't know when I can't remember when the original start of our first audition was. But
2011. November 2011.
8 years.
So
no, 2011 though was when the thing was on Actors Access, and then we booked it. We booked in April. I have the whole timeline.
So 9 years, whatever it was. That's a long time. I mean, granted, the vast majority of that time, I wasn't really sure the movie was ever going to happen. But once it was a go, then that's when the work starts to go, because then once they said, yes, we're going, this is happening in a few months, then all the preparation started in that moment. So Reggie and I lived with these characters for, years realistically before it, but really for months before it. We did so much prep via Skype with Saty and Deva, like going over this like this. When we got on set, like I said, everything was ready to go because the production schedule was so tight. There wasn't margin for error. Like, we needed to show up, do our part, and do it right, and be done. And yeah, it was amazing because that they decided to hold us off and not introduce the cast, because like Reggie was just saying, the look on little Chintu's face and all of them, seeing first off Americans coming in there, but Americans in full tactical military gear.
Yeah.
This was
very, very hot tactical gear, 125 degrees.
Yeah. We had people assigned to us, so hats off to everybody on production, who had to literally just sit there and blow AC on us so that we didn't die. It was like, so those shoot days, they were so brutal. Those shoot days were unbelievably brutal, but it was perfect because we used it. And I mean, you're in the Middle East; it's hot as balls anyway. And so all of it was added to just being grounded in the reality of, that scenario. But the fact we shot this movie sequentially made such a difference, because normally that never happens. You're never shooting a movie in order. It's always based on when you can get locations, and various components like that are going to dictate what order you shoot the script. Yeah. And because we had the kids, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that was the reason we shot it sequentially, was so they didn't get confused and they understood the story as it progressed. I could just be making that up, but at least I assumed that was the reason. I assumed that was the reason for shooting it.
That was one of the reasons. If your character is breaking the house apart, it has to, even the continuity sense, it's easy to maintain continuity. It is, we are shooting the entire thing in one location anyway, so why not do it linear in the linear order? So because of all these factors, and again, before the two of you enter the house, we had already shot for a few days. So other actors had bonded. They had become a family, right? So when you enter, you are actually intruders. into their happy space. So a lot of these factors, in fact, there was no reason to not shoot it in linear order. All the reasons made us do this.
And thank God it did, because I got injured a number of times. You want to talk about the difference in shooting in India versus America? I was doing quote unquote my own stunts, and the amount of I don't want to say supervision on that, but I got a number of injuries on it, and one of them was from one of those bullets that we were shooting. When I come outside the house and you see all the spraying of machine gun going across, they were like little paintballs full of like dirt, I believe is what they were, to give the illusion of like bullets, hitting the stucco. And one of them just went right across my forehead and cut it open. And if you look in the movie, you'll see that right after that, there's a gash on my forehead for the rest of it. And like same with, like, I started having bandages on my fingers as each day progressed, from like getting ripped by my gun and doing those little fight scenes of beating up body. And so all the injuries made sense because they happened in order. But if we didn't shoot that in order, it would have been a continuity nightmare, not just destroying the house, but like all of my new little wounds that were popping up would have really been noticeable and made hair and makeup's life hell.
Well, this would be the part where I would admit that I did not do the stunts, but I'm not going to say it. I am a little, I thought about it when they asked me to do, so whoever's watching this, you guys in wonderful CHINTU. Oh, I don't want to, if you haven't seen the movie, you need to go see the movie.
No, everybody's seen the movie. Everybody here has seen the movie.
If you've seen the movie, then you see that I kind of get blown up. And there was a moment, and we had a whole discussion about whether or not I was going to do that stunt. And I looked at this happening in real time, and I thought to myself, what if this stunt doesn't go well and I don't make it back to the script? So we decided not to. I went ahead and let Nate go ahead and do all his stuff. And I decided to go ahead and let somebody else do that. But hopefully in America,
I wasn't getting blown up though. So I mean, I was getting,
yeah, fair.
My stunts were easy. It's like stage combat. You were getting shot through a wall.
Yeah.
And as much as we loved every day of working on set, I will admit in this wonderful live interview that there was at least one day for each of us where we stormed off upset. And we were, I don't know if they remember, but we were hot about some things. I don't even remember what they were, but I remember.
Why were they upset, Sat?
I don't remember. I didn't even pay attention to these things.
Deva will remember. Deva, why were they upset?
Yeah. The producers didn't let us know they were upset. And I would always see them in character, or they were sweating like crazy. And they were sitting in front of an AC vent, and it was torturous. So
we should have gotten the ADs to really tell us, because I think that by the time you guys met the actors on set, they were prepped and all the bullshit was kept out. The ADs are the ones who were actually dealing with all the fucking tantrums and all the issues and all the problems off set.
Tantrums? No,
I think it had to do. I think it had to do. It had to do with one of the days where it was. I mean, it's like 125 degrees in there, and you're in full tactical gear, which is heavy. Those guns are replica guns. They're full weight. They're full spec. And you're sitting there when it's already a sauna. Yeah, and we had one where they threw in, there was smoke in there. It was a day that I literally almost died of smoke inhalation, and like nobody cared. I was like, I literally can't breathe.
Okay.
Like, I'm dying right now.
You were never gonna die of smoke inhalation. Can we relax for a bit? All right.
It felt like it, Tame. It felt like it. In the moment, I was like,
still waiting to meet an actor who would say, "Oh yeah, I'm a bit of a diva. I throw tantrums." I've never met an actor.
I never said I wasn't a diva, Tame. I would never claim such a thing.
I remember now.
As we've already discussed, Tanmay would be the first person to go to about smoke inhalation. He would.
I should have consulted you, Tanmay. Like, how do I deal with this? How do I?
I was saying I remember very clearly. Now I do. It was right after the action sequence where Louis gets blown up. Then when he's falling down and Nate is dragging him inside.
Yes.
where we had created a sense of smoke and all kinds of smoke. It was a little, it was difficult to,
I was hauling Reggie's lifeless body.
We had
Right,
shot,
and then
we had shot very long takes.
185-pound body across the ground like 4 times. He was so upset at that last. I think that he would have dropped me and left me there to die if he had that as an option.
If it was real life, I would have been like, "Well, your time has come, friend." But the camera was rolling, so I had to like save for the shot.
We were also shooting that in slow motion. So every time you guys would perform, we would go to the monitor and we would watch it in slow motion. And then we being how we are, we would like one more take.
One more take.
Yeah.
I'm literally coughing up blood in my hand. Like, I was like, "Are you sure? One more?" And they're like, "Yeah, you got it."
He's so method. He's so method acting.
I know. So committed. Satyanshu was in Video Village, and he was like, "Use it. Use the blood. Keep rolling."
It's funny. Yeah. There was a lot of that going on. I have some behind the scenes footage that I will release here shortly that may show a little more anger.
Yeah, now it's not released. Now it's an expose at this point. Well, I was going to ask you the difference between shooting there and shooting here. I'm just going to ignore that question and move on to the next one. Sad.
Honestly, it was great. Like there was the shoot days were longer. Because we had a lot to do. But I mean the production team, everybody involved in this movie, and I cannot say this enough. I know Reggie will agree. Everybody was so unbelievably talented, so gracious, and so committed to making the best possible piece of art they could. Like there was so much love in this film, and we're talking trash now about a rough scene or whatever, but like it didn't matter. Everybody was there to make the best possible film.
Looks
and
so
when you have
good,
a synergy
though.
like
Totally paid off. It looks so good. There's a lot of chatter about this. I think once it's come out here, everyone's talking about it being the best film of this year so far. Yada yada yada. We'll see where all the film travels. But you're right about the talent. Maybe there'll be Lakshmika birthday. Or something like that. I wanted to. You spoke about the different talent that was on set, Nate and Reggie. I want to throw this question to you guys. Tell me some stuff about working with the kids, with all the other talent that was on set. Do you remember any stories? What was it like? I mean, you had a lot of interaction with, of course, Vinay. Tell me about what that was like.
Vinay was amazing. Vinay was amazing. Talatama, amazing. I had a great conversation with Vinay, who actually did some schooling in New York City, where I live. So that was great, and we got to sort of bond. I really had a great time with Wahi, and we created our little gesture. We did it right there. I just wanted to give us a little something to bond with, and he was so receptive right after that. And then after that, Nate decided to copy that and do that with a lot of the different kids as well.
I mean, mine was cooler. I mean, it was cool. I added a few extra things. You stopped at 3, and I was like, how about we do a little this, a little that? It's like,
but what was really amazing about the whole process was the fact that none of the kids had worked on any films before. And I thought that is kudos to the casting team, but just they really bought in. They bought into it, and it was amazing to watch them work, especially Bisha, who was brilliant. Everybody was brilliant, but to the fact that she had never, none of the kids had ever worked, right?
All debut actors.
All debut actors, but
that's
they
why
came
they didn't throw any tantrums, because they didn't know how to do it, right?
Oh, Tanmay. I think we had a Tanmay tantrum a couple of times too. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, there was a Tanmay tantrum. There's definitely Devo tantrums. they're the set. I mean, you're always gonna have tantrums. If it's not, then
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I'm getting to be
okay.
funny in an interview for after a very long time, so I'm just letting go. Reggie, continue, please.
I don't. Hold on, my phone is dying. Okay, hold on. I don't know what. Nate, you can go ahead and. But working with everyone was amazing. Everybody. I will say it was interesting. There was a moment where CHINTU. I swear that this happened. He didn't remember it when I had this interview with him on Instagram, but there was a moment where he wanted cookies or he wanted something. And we were trying to shoot. And I think that was the day I might have got a little pissed off because, again, we come in and we're ready to go and we're ready to shoot this in a take or two because we're in these hot suits that were just really, and we were just ready to knock it out. But there was a time, and CHINTU's he's 5 or 6 years old. So it was interesting watching him being managed on set, but there were times when he wasn't ready to go because he wanted to either play or maybe he wanted cookies or whatever the case. It was cookies. I'm almost certain it was cookies. I was going to go back there and bake him some damn cookies. But it was a beautiful experience to watch everybody fall into these characters, working with everybody, even you, Nate, dog. I mean, like we're sitting here now, bouncing off of him, being able to, the way that this is written allows us to sort of play against each other. But when we got to bond together and really got to set this off, I would work again with him in a heartbeat. I'd work with that whole set in a heartbeat. But
Lakshmika birthday coming up, guys. Lakshmika birthday.
Yeah.
And the two soldiers walk into the house and they're like, God damn it, again? Are we going to do this again, guys? We went through this once already.
Swear to God, you better give me cake at the end of this party.
At least. I didn't even get my cake.
I know.
Nate, I'm over to you.
Thank you, Reggie. And the same, man. And that was actually a component that I don't think we really talked about is Darren and Lewis's dynamic in the film is, everyone thinks, oh, they're soldiers. They're instantly, they got to be like best friends and whatever else. Well, him and I, our backstory is like, we've only been together for like a week or two at this point. And now he's like showing me the ropes. We both are coming from two different places. And you can see the difference in the characters and the frustration between both of them in that different dynamic of what they want and what they want in each of those scenes and what they're trying to achieve. And it created, I think, a really cool, subtle conflict between the two people who were supposed to be on the same side, which was like a nuance to it, but nonetheless was still present. And I thought was really cool. But as far as the rest of that cast, I mean, holy hell. Deva, I mean, you have a talent for casting because every single person in that film was beyond lights out. Granted, most of the scenes took place. Me in particular, Reggie, were with Vinay. But every single one of them, and geez, she watching that movie, watching her performance really made me feel like an even bigger asshole. I was looking at myself and being like, who is that dickhead? Like, he just destroyed that poor girl's poster.
Same, like, dude, same.
Yeah, like, I was like, man. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's me. And I'm like, I am the asshole. But so talented. And there was this, the scene that, this is kind of like acting class 101 type thing for any future current actors out there. Vinay.
Yes, I know what you're gonna say. I already know what you're gonna say.
When we were in the bedroom scene at the very end, where he comes in, he basically asks us to, and he has to get a shout out for this.
Let's call it the confession scene or the bedroom scene.
The bedroom scene, where he comes and asks us to just let him have 10 minutes and then we can arrest him. We started in that scene with the coverage on Reggie and I. So the coverage was me and Reggie first. And a lot of actors, if they're not good actors or they're selfish actors, are not going to give you shit when it's not their coverage. Like they will wait until their coverage to really emote and really to go there. Like they're just going to, they'll give you something, but like it won't just be a line read, obviously, because you're going to need the audio. But like they never go all in. When Reggie and I were doing that scene, it was our coverage. Vinay and maybe this is why I feel like you guys use one take in there over and over of me like processing what was happening. Maybe it was because I actually had tears in my eyes from the coverage of us when he was doing it. But his performance when he broke down and straight up cried, like 2 of those takes that were for us, not even for him, his own coverage or for our coverage, he gave us so much to work with. I feel like he also just, poor guy, spent his freaking energy of like on us.
Or maybe he's just a miserable guy who likes crying. You never know.
Maybe he could be very self-loathing. Who knows? But we got to give a shout out because Reggie and I talked about this, after the fact, and we told him
in the chat, please. Yeah.
But like he is such a giving actor and gave so much to us in that scene where most people wouldn't. Really showed not only his talent and his range, but his character as a human and as an actor, that he was willing to give us so much on our coverage in such a heavy scene.
Let me add two minor points about that scene. So after we finished the coverage on these 2 guys, and the camera now turned to cover Vinay, I remember Reggie and Nate both telling us, praising Vinay from the bottom of their hearts and telling us that don't worry, we are not in frame, but we are going to do our best for Vinay now. So
nice.
So both of them did that, and after and it was a long scene. We delayed the lunch for say 10 of us. The lunch was delayed. The rest of the team went and had lunch. So after all the shots were done, I remember we came out, and in the hall, Vinay was chatting with someone, and both Reggie and Nate, they came to Vinay just to thank him, shake his hand and thank him. And they told him how wonderful it was to act alongside him on this day.
Oh, how
that
nice.
Scene was brilliant. That scene was brilliant. There's no way to explain. We were standing there in our moment, angry. Well, Darren's angry, and I'm angry at him being angry in this particular moment. And Vinay just like, it's so, all of us have to have the ability to transform on screen. But when, again, Nate is so serious. It was not even his coverage. It wasn't even his shot. And he's just giving us so much. We don't get a lot of that in the United States. I'll be honest. And I don't want to take anything away from actors here in the United States, but we don't, that dedication was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah, right. There was a similar moment with Talatama as well when she came up to me with the cake. And her eyes, just the eyes alone, there was a sadness, a heaviness, but there was also, you guys got the most brilliant cast ever, really. And I don't say that because I'm in it, like whatever.
I'd say you guys did great casting. We definitely agree. But no, the funny thing is not only that, I feel like just harping on this because I want this to be a message, I guess, to any actor out there, is a lot of the time, especially Vinay, because he is a very established actor in India. The equivalent of that in America, the same thing. A lot of times, if you're in a scene with a name actor, they won't even be there for your coverage. A lot of times they'll have a stand-in there who will just they're going to be in their trailer until it's their coverage and someone's going to read their lines. He stayed the whole time and gave everything to our coverage in that scene, when in reality the scene was, it was transformational, I guess, for me. That was the first inkling of, the switch with Darren, but that scene was about him. Yeah. That was about his plea and his sacrifice, and what he was willing to do to give his son just a few minutes, of happiness on his birthday. And it was, like I said, all you actors out there, give something to the other actor, in the scene, even when you reach that level. If you reach that level, always remember, it's a creative process, and you will get so much more. Everybody will get so much more. The film will get so much more out of everybody just doing their part. And that was the unique thing with this film, from the many I've been a part of, where there's a small handful that you can ever think of, that the whole production, everybody involved, all had the same goal, and they just wanted to make.
Vinay is a legend, and they just don't make him like him anymore. Vinay is special in many ways. All right, gentlemen, we're already 80 minutes down. This didn't feel like 80 minutes at all, Sat, huh?
Yeah.
This went across like a breeze.
So this is as long as the film.
Yeah, this is as long as the film. This was so much fun. Guys. I remember before we wrap up, though, I want to tell you guys. There was a moment where they cast you guys, and then the film didn't get made for many years, and there was a slight hesitation phase where Deva and Saty were talking about. You guys got slightly older compared to the characters, and there was talk about casting
just to put that on record, it was not Devanshu or me. There was a producer who was attached to the film for some while, and it was the producer who made us do this. We had promised both of these gentlemen that we are going to make the film with you, and we never doubted that.
Yeah, and I think when I came on board, I asked them this, saying, "Do you want to remain with the same cast?" And these two boys, they were so convinced of it, irrespective of anything that went across all those years. And I have to say, boys, that I'm so happy that you guys did. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today. Chintu ka birthday would not have been the same without you. Can we please have Nate OP and Reggie OP in the chat, please? Deva, Saty, thank you very much once again. We will be back for more.
Everyone, namaste to everyone, and follow me at Reggie on the Move.
Yes, I'm gonna quickly open their Instagrams, all right, and we're gonna do a quick raid on both of them. We got Nate is here. I'm gonna open Reggie as well. Hang on.
And while you're doing that, I just kind of say one more thing to all three of you. Thank you so much for having us be a part of this project and welcoming us into your amazing country. We were treated literally with such grace and humility.
That's because we have a colonial hangover. That's why. It's not because of you.
Hundreds of years old. You haven't shook it.
I'm so sorry. I had to puncture that with a joke.
No, not at all. It's just the country was amazing. Everybody there would have given us a shirt off their back, and we never for a second felt like outsiders. And it was very well.
He's lying. I did.
Well,
he's lying. I felt like an outsider at least once or twice.
Minus when we went to public places and we were swarmed for selfies everywhere we went. We definitely felt like outsiders at that point. We're like, wait a minute.
Will Smith. They were calling me Will Smith. I don't look anything like Will Smith. Satyanshu, you remember? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to enter this. Do you remember when you first got me at the airport and those two guys were sitting behind us while we were having a beer and they were trying to snap pictures of me? Will Smith. No. India changed my life. I'll be honest with you guys. It changed my life. And I can't wait to come back.
Guys, this is Reggie on Instagram. Please go to his profile. Let him know what you thought of the film. Let him know what you thought of his performance. Please show him some love from India. And this is Nate. Right here. Please go follow these guys. Let them know what you thought. Tell them your feelings. Bas dil khol do yaar. Bas bata do dil se jo laga. And Nate and Reggie have promised they're going to take the next 3 weeks off to just respond to all your messages.
That's it.
I'm going to leave these two profiles open here, boys and girls. On that note, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Don't leave the call. I'm going to wrap up the stream while you guys do. For the last time, these are the two profiles. Check it out. Follow them, right? I want these followings to go up. On that note, chat, thank you very much for joining. I hope you guys, our numbers have just been going up. This rarely happens for a 90-minute interview. But thank you very much, chat, for sticking around. On that note, see you next time.